It is time for another episode of Chargers Powder Hour. Colin, Appel, Miles, Veruca. We are back after a bye week. No episodes last week. And man, we are refreshed, ready to go. Chargers taking on the Dallas Cowboys on prime time Monday Night Football. My dude, how we doing on this fabulous Friday evening?
Man, I wish it was Sunday evening. I'm ready for Monday night, man. Yeah, really looking forward to this matchup. It's gonna really be a lot. That's really gonna be all I'm gonna think about all weekend is just the Dallas Cowboys Monday night prime time football. Would be an absolutely massive win for this organization. Looking forward to getting into it, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's Friday night. Got the Friday vibes are prevalent right now.
Big time, big time.
It's Friday at 5 vibes. I mean, it's 6:30 out here on the West
Friday
Coast.
the
So
Friday the 13th, nonetheless.
that's right,
So
Friday the 13th. Yeah, no, it's good. It's going good, man. I'm excited. There's a whole weekend of football ahead. I got a mega parlay built with college
shocker.
football, NFL, and yeah, so I'm excited for that. Just excited to get back into this this season that's been put on hold for a week. But no, man, yeah, everything's good. Everything's good on this end. Just ready to talk some ball.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. We already got the bye week behind us. Feels like the season just started. But in another sense, feels like this is when our season really, really starts. We got 4 games out of the way, split those 500 right down the middle, and now is when we really get into the fun of what the season's gonna hold. So looking forward to this stretch going forward, man, and I'm really excited to break it down.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it too. It's like this is, I mean, the first 4 games, like whatever, like you said, split them down the middle, 500. But when you look at the next 4, 5, 6 weeks of the schedule for this team, like this really is the
This is make or
season.
break. Yeah, this is
Yeah, I
make
mean,
or
the
break coming
season
up.
is the next 6 weeks because if you make it through that stretch, the clouds start to kind of part a little bit. You're seeing sunnier days, and you hopefully have put yourself in a position to just control your destiny down the road and clinch a playoff spot.
And it all starts Monday night. So I think without further ado, let's get right into it.
Let's do it, man. All right. Well, I mean, you know the rules here. Before we really get into it, we got to get into what we're
Mick
drinking.
Ultra, nothing special, just a Mick Ultra. It's Friday night, watching my carbs. That's all I got.
All right. Well, I'm gonna fucking
You
liven
can
this
be,
up a little
yeah,
bit.
please do. Sorry, at least I have a drink this time. You shit on me if I don't have one, and now I have one, and it's too boring. So sorry,
There you
I'm
go. Yeah, dude.
sorry I'm
God,
not in
fucking
Arizona and can't reach out to all these different loggers that
do one of
nobody's heard
do
of.
one of the things right at least. Come on, man. I'm
I
just
will.
I'm just giving you
How about
shit.
I get the prediction right at the end of the
All
episode,
right. If
and
that's
then we'll
that,
talk.
I'll take that. If
Yeah,
that's
then we'll
one thing
talk.
you want to nail,
That,
go
that
for
would
it.
be the one thing I would want to nail. So,
Pause.
Rayo.
All right. Well, I'm excited for this tonight because, as I mentioned on one of the previous episodes, my girlfriend got a new bartending job at a local brewery here in Phoenix, and that brewery is Santan Brewing Company. So, for any of our Arizonians out there listening to the pod, shout out to Santan Brewing Company, based out of Chandler, Arizona, where I live. And I have the Baja Jack. It is a salted lime lager, and it's pretty good.
Mm.
This is actually the last one of the 6 pack that we got, and Santan is awesome because this brewing company like literally makes all their own. Like it's a distillery and a brewery, so they make all their own liquors, whiskey, vodkas, tequilas, and then on top of that, I mean, they have just a laundry list of different beers. But yeah, no, it's very good. I'm gonna get a little can crack right here for you.
There we go. Dude, that sound I can't even lie. That just the sound of that sounds delicious. Definitely something that you're gonna have to put me on next time I'm down there.
Dude, yeah, it's pretty good. I've had a few different beers now from the brewing company, and honestly, like I haven't had a bad one yet. There was a pineapple wheat that
Mm.
I had, and that was really good. And then this is, the salted lime lager. So both have been really, really good. Um, and I'm excited to try more, which I definitely will be doing on future episodes.
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. You gotta like send me a care package or something, because I mean,
All right,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah, I
try.
can
I
do
want to
that.
try some of these. So they all sound really good, and even the names of the brewing companies sound, just so out of the ordinary for me. So
Yeah, maybe if we get enough following here, we can just get sponsored by Santan. That'd be dope.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, Santan, if you're listening to this right now, go Bolts. Drop us some beers.
That's right.
We'd be
Even
cool.
though like probably like 90% of the people that like affiliate with this brewing company are probably Cardinals fans, just because of the Phoenix location. But hey, we can expand.
Hey,
We can get a little further out west and get some Chargers fans up in here.
hey, I'm sure there's more Chargers fans there where you are in Arizona than there is here in the middle of
You're probably not
Nebraska.
wrong.
So,
Yeah, Phoenix is a big melting pot. So yeah, probably not too far off there. But yeah, man, that's what I'm drinking. But let's get into it, man. We have a lot not only to catch up on, but we just have a lot to dig into ahead of this Monday night matchup with the Chargers and the Cowboys. So like we usually do it, we're gonna start with the injury reports. Um, you know, the injury report is not final. We have one more practice tomorrow. We have Saturday, just on a longer week. So, but things are, I think, trending in the right direction for the most part. Chargers are, finally starting to reap some of those bye week benefits, and we're starting to see some of these guys who, even just a week ago were, maybe a couple weeks out, and now they're already kind of limited in practice. Even if they're not practicing, they're at least, off on the side, doing individual drills or something like that in some capacity. So it's amazing what just 1 week can do for a football team's health. And, as for this year, it really hasn't been like devastating injuries for the Chargers. We've had a couple, but it's mainly just been uh, some banged up guys that are just trying to maybe not get back to 100%, but at least just get on the field and produce for the team. So yeah, let's get into it here. The Chargers injury report, we'll start with that side. um, you know the big names that immediately jump out to me, obviously you have Joey Bosa, Aloe Gilman, um, Donald Parham Jr., among others. But just to start it off, Joey Bosa still is not practicing. Did not practice yesterday. Did not practice today. I think it's very important to note that, and this is something that I didn't catch initially. He's actually listed with a toe injury now, and it's not hamstring related. So I thought that was interesting because I'm like, I saw it earlier in the day and I just like didn't catch it. But before I got on here, I was like, oh wait, I was expecting to still be on the injury report in some fashion, but it's a totally different injury. Or, I mean, he might have had some toe issues, I think, pop up in the last couple weeks. But yeah, that was something to note for me.
yeah, I didn't notice that until you just mentioned that. I thought it was just kind of, the stuff we had already known that he was dealing with. But one thing I do want to say with Joey is it's really hasn't been uncommon over the last few years to see a bunch of DNPs on the practice sheet and see him still be able to play. Plus, he has been like at practice, just working off to the side. So I mean, I think that is at least a decent sign as to how close he is to getting back. Especially after last week's bye week. Now we're riding on, this will be his now third week on the injury report with some DNPs during practice. So definitely up in the air on his status, but it is nice to note that it's not like he hasn't been at practice at all or hasn't been able to do anything. He's been out there and has been able to do some assortment of things.
Yeah, and I think with Joey too, like I think it's important to know, like, not only does he still find a way to get on the field with like all the DNPs and things like that, but he's a guy that, I mean, it might not even matter if Khalil Mack can go and get 6 sacks again. Like, Khalil Mack just might do that, but you still, like, I mean, it's still, I think Charger fans are still waiting on that, like, perfect day, where both of these guys are out there and they're healthy and they're operating on all cylinders, and it's a fucking nightmare for opposing quarterbacks and opposing offensive lines. Like, we've seen a little bit of both. We've seen Bosa have his games, and Mac hasn't shown up. And then we've seen, obviously, last week was the exact reason why we made the move to go get Khalil Mack, was for moments like, or excuse me, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, against the Raiders. Like, that is why you go and get a guy like that. Like, if that's like, just for that game alone, I would argue like the signing was worth it. Like,
Yeah.
that's 6 sacks in one game is fucking insane. And I think Charger fans are just still waiting and like chomping at the bit to just see both of those guys together at the same time, fully healthy, fully loaded, like torturing quarterbacks. And I hope we get to see that. I think we will at some point this year. But man, we just need Joey to get right and be able to get back out there. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. I mean, I don't know. I would like to think he's going to go in some capacity on Sunday, even if it is kind of how we've seen him the last few weeks, with a limited role. But well, yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Trending in the right direction, Austin Eckler with his ankle injury. He's been a full participant yesterday and today. And I think he even said last weekend, either on his podcast or to just one of the media members, that he's 99.9% sure that he's going to be out there. So that's great news. And I'm definitely going to talk about Eckler later in this episode too, because he is going to be a massive reason, or just a huge factor in this game, no matter what. Like, no matter what the outcome, a lot of it's going to depend on Austin Eckler. But I'll get into all that later. Alohi Gilman still has not practiced this week with a heel injury. If I had to just take a stab at it on Friday evening, I don't think we'll see him this week. But again, another thing to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Lohi go. If anything, I'd be surprised if he did play in general, just with DMPs obviously missed the Raiders game. But, also on this list, just below him and Justin Herbert, Derwin James will be back this weekend, was another full participant. So, if we're going to, it's going to be Derwin James and probably, Raheem Lane back there, or Dean Marlowe. Or, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a mix of, both Raheem Lane, Dean Marlowe, and then had Derwin, do Derwin shit and go blitz off the line, or go, help a backer out, something along those lines. So, Alohi being out is going to hurt. But, being able to get a guy like Derwin back, I think that the loss of Alohi for another week with the trade of getting Derwin back is probably worth it.
Yeah, and Derwin is actually one of those guys, where one of those scenarios, I should say, this week, where I'm really thinking, like, I mean, this week, and again, we're not behind the scenes. We don't know the progress of these injuries and all that stuff. But I am already kind of looking ahead to next week, because who we're playing next week, and it's like, I hope it's not one of those scenarios, where they kind of try to rush him back to be in this Monday night game, because it is a shorter turnaround the following week when they go to Arrowhead. And that's definitely a guy you're going to want to have ready to go for a matchup with, someone like Travis Kelce. Uh, so that I know we're not supposed to look ahead, but that's already something that I'm kind of thinking about. And I hope it is one of those scenarios where, hey, he actually is 100% ready to go, put him out there full force, against the Cowboys on Monday night, and then, move on with the schedule, and he's back going forward. But I'm just like praying it's not one of those things where he's kind of 50-50, but they decide to maybe, let him go in a limited capacity. And then it's like he's sore after and it's like still questionable going into the Kansas City game. Yeah, I would just love to see Derwin back doing Derwin things, like you said, because they're not only going to need it this week, but especially over the next few weeks. Like that's a huge piece that they just can't afford to not have out there.
Yeah, man, totally. Derwin coming back. Clearly we didn't need him too badly against the Raiders. Against this Cowboys offense, though, having a piece like that back in this defense is going to be massive. But the rest of the injury report: Dean Leonard was limited yesterday, downgraded to he did not participate today. Donald Parham limited yesterday, was a full participant today. Trey Pipkins, Rashawn Slater, full both days. And then defensive lineman Nick Williams just popped up today with a back issue. He did not participate today. Out of those last few guys, realistically, Dean Leonard, obviously downgraded from limited to did not participate with a hamstring issue. We've talked so much about hamstrings in the past and how they really just linger and are really just a bitch to get a timetable for. So, what are your thoughts on Dean? Obviously we don't know the behind the scenes like you just mentioned, but as you see him being able to go this week?
I would actually, I don't know. Look, obviously with the departure of JC Jackson, the Chargers definitely have more of a structured, starting cornerback room and just cornerback roles kind of for the rest of the guys on this roster. And with Dean Leonard, he's still one of those younger guys who, has shown flashes for sure in different parts of the different phases of the game. But man, I'm rooting for him like crazy. I definitely, I think this is going to be a season where maybe 1 or 2 seasons down the road we kind of look back on and we see a few like future starters emerge, and start to make plays. And I think Dean Leonard's one of those guys. Like I personally have high hopes for him just within this organization. I think he's one of those guys that can climb the depth chart year after year and get better and better. He was obviously a late round pick to begin with, but I think there's a lot of raw talent there. So rooting like crazy for the guy. He's already kind of like a mini fan favorite, when you think about it. Definitely has not really done anything to be on the bad side of Charger fans. Like he's made plays. He's made the most out of his opportunities so far in the National Football League. So yeah, man, I don't know if he'll go. But it's definitely, now that JC Jackson's gone, they're definitely gonna have to lean on some of these younger guys, and you hope that they're out there. So hoping that he's able to go. But like they were able to get a win 2 weeks ago with a scrappy young secondary, mainly at safety. But I mean, no reason why it can't be the same for corner, this week or going forward. Is I think they have guys that can step up, but just this week specifically with Dean, I have no idea if he's going to play. I just based on his practice report yesterday and today, I can already tell you he's probably going to be questionable, if not maybe doubtful.
I'm leaning towards doubtful probably with Dean. I just think the downgrade in the middle of the week is never a good sign. If you can go one day to at least some capacity and then not be able to do nearly as much the next day, does not bode well for being able to play come Monday. But then again, we are recording Friday, 2 more days until we really get the games. Well, I guess after practice tomorrow on Saturday, we'll get the game statuses. But yeah, anyone else? Donald Parham, really awesome to see him as a full participant. I would expect.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he still got like a questionable tag. That just seems to be something that even if he goes full back-to-back days, just starting out with that limited, wouldn't be surprised if he got that questionable tag. But definitely looks like he should be in line to play come this weekend. So that's awesome to have him back. I know, just with our history with Donald Parham, after seeing him land on his wrist, both of us were thinking, damn, that's at least 3-4 weeks for him. To only miss that Raiders game is awesome.
yeah, dude. He's like it's so clear that like Herbert loves him as specifically as like a red zone weapon, but also just a big body, reliable, trustworthy target at key moments in the game. I've always like wanted Donald to like really just take off as a next like future tied into this team. I still think the talent's there, the potential's there, but it's like injuries have definitely been a thing. He's been banged up. Um, I think I texted you like moments after that happened, and he was down in the end zone. I'm like, dude, at at best, that's a sprained wrist, and that's exactly what it turned out to be. Thank God. I mean, if it was a broken wrist, then this is a different conversation. Um, but yeah, I totally agree. To only miss 1 week and then be trending right, in the right direction, looking to play a big game Monday night against the Cowboys. Yeah, that's awesome. That's positive news, and again, he is a legit weapon for Justin Herbert. So you want as many of those out there on the field as possible, and yeah, I'm expecting him to play, and I'm excited to see him back.
Yeah, I mean, 3 touchdowns through 3 games, I believe, so far this year for Parham. All of those coming within the red zone. He's just such a key piece, just such a massive body in that red zone, and it's clear he's got those good hands.
Yeah,
Minnesota, Justin threw that absolute
I
bro, that thing was
still
a 95 four seam down the middle,
I
and
never saw that like on the live, just like in live
you
time
can't see the
broadcast.
ball.
You can't
You
see the
can't see
ball.
the ball. No, it's crazy. So, yeah, clear that he's very much so emerging as well. Has already kind of emerged as one of Justin Herbert's favorite red zone targets, and that red zone efficiency is only better for us. Turning 3 into 7 when that guy's out on the field. So massive. Trey Pipkins, Rashawn Slater, both full. I don't think really any worries there. Nick Williams back, did not participate today. We don't. Nick Williams more just a rotational piece. Neither one of us know a ton about him. Obviously, he's made a few plays here and there so far early on in the season. I think he had a tackle for loss either week 1 or 2. But yeah, if he's not able to go this week, I'm just expecting a lot more of Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph Day, and company. So, but the Cowboys, however, they're if
Yeah.
you have any last thoughts on the Chargers injury report?
No, no, I think we did a good job covering that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a good transition because I was just about to go into the Cowboy side of things as well. They have a laundry list of guys on this injury report, and I think a lot of it is just fucking smoke screens because I'm seeing a lot of non injury related rest days. I'm seeing a lot of illnesses, which illnesses are like hit or miss. Like, if it's a cold or if it's like a stomach bug for like 48 hours, they're probably going to be able to bounce back and play in
Bro said a
some
cold.
aspect on Sunday.
Bro thinks a
Um,
cold is going to stop some of the meanest, toughest people in the league from playing a game.
right. So like I think a lot of this is very deceiving on the Cowboys side of things. The biggest name that stands out to me that's like I think legit injury, like not looking like he'll go this weekend, has to be Leighton Vander Esch.
Yeah, I believe actually I believe last week when he came off the field, it was kind of already somewhat written in stone that this is because I remember the play in which it happened, and it did not look good for Leighton Vander Esch. I would be very shocked if he was able to go come Monday night. So I'm not expecting to see him out there on Monday, which is another huge loss for this Dallas defense that already lost a guy like Trayvon Diggs earlier this season. So another big hit to the Dallas defense for this week.
That's I mean, outside of like Diggs and maybe obviously Micah Parsons, like I think of Leighton Vander Esch for this defense. I mean, he's been a steady middle linebacker presence for this team, and it's like especially when you think about matchups. Gonna get to Austin Eckler here in a little bit, but like I mean the when you think of like linebackers on running backs, think of linebackers on like tight ends, like that's a huge piece to that defense that could I mean, they're probably going to miss a lot. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure. And like I said, did not practice yesterday or today. So, it says neck/concussion. So, you know, I think there's more going on than just a concussion there. Obviously, there's, probably more that goes into it. So, yeah, but other than that, man, like there's a lot of, I mean, again, it's tough to say for a lot of these for all these guys. I mean, Tyron Smith did not practice yesterday, but it was non-injury related. He was full today.
I think that's just because he's old as shit. So
Right.
kind of a
Same with
Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa treatment right there for Tyron Smith.
a year or two ago. He was one of the most sought after defensive tackle free agents in the league. He didn't practice yesterday or today, but it's not injury related and illness related. So not really sure what to think there. Cornerback CJ Goodwin did not practice yesterday or today with a pectoral injury. So and really right now, like
Who?
exactly, CJ Goodwin and Leighton Vander Esch are probably the two dudes that I can confidently say probably aren't going to be on the field Sunday. Everyone else, I expect to see. There are some big names on here, Malik Hooker, Tony Pollard, um, obviously Jonathan Hankins, Tyron Smith, but
Neville Gallimore.
all those
Duh.
guys, I'm expecting to see on Sunday or on Monday. My bad.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not really looking too much into the Cowboys injury report outside of LVE, and I really don't expect him to be able to go Monday. I thought that they were maybe even having IR talks regarding him, so I'd be very surprised to see him be able to go on Monday. Other than that, I expect everyone that especially names you guys would recognize, to be able to play
Yeah.
out on Monday. So.
Yep. All right, man. Let's get into odds. If anyone is going to bet on this game, we got to talk the lines. I personally will probably not bet on this game, but that doesn't mean that I don't have some opinions on if you are going to bet. Some safe locks or just reasonable bets here with some logic behind them. But the Cowboys are the favorites in this one. The spread is -2.5 in favor of the Cowboys. This is actually one of those games where I don't think it's a bad idea to hit Chargers plus 2.5, but it is such a small spread that it really probably won't even matter. Right now, the Cowboys money line is sitting at -135, Chargers plus 114, with the over under being set right now currently at 51. And this is courtesy of DraftKings.
Sweet. Yeah. So initial thoughts. Yeah, Dallas 2. If you're gonna bet this game, I would just bet money line, man. I don't know. The spread is just on a spread so small like that. Like
Well, this is
you honestly might as
see,
well.
I probably would do the spread on this one just because it is smaller. I mean, it's basically like, I mean, if the Chargers, for the Chargers to cover, they're gonna have to basically win, unless it's like a 2-point game. But like, this is not a bad game to smash Chargers either money line or the against the spread. I mean, you look at that Cowboys team like last week, and I don't know about you, but it just made me feel so much better about this matchup. Granted, I mean, it was against the Niners, so like you have to take that into consideration. But I think like let's not kid ourselves. I think the Cowboys are going to get their numbers offensively. Whether it's yardage or points. Um, Probably more so yardage though, because Staley defenses are notorious for bending and not breaking. Um, I can see some red zone stops by this Chargers team, throughout the game. So, but I just don't think. I mean, this is one of those games. I'm actually going to probably encourage fans to bet on this game in favor of the Chargers because I really don't think you have that much to lose. If anything, like I said, the money line is sitting at plus 114. So, if you put $20 on this game just on the Chargers money line, you're winning 22. So $20 pays out $42. It's not. I mean, that's not bad. Even $10 pays out like 22. So it's one of those games. I don't think you can go wrong betting the Chargers money line because I think this game can go 50-50. And if you're going to go that way, you might as well just play the odds.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and we'll get into our predictions later. But this is a game that I am very confident in the boys in powder blue in. So, if I'm betting this game, I'm not gonna bet against the Cowboys. So But
Especially where the
over
spread sitting at like 2.5. Like if this game was like Chargers minus 3.5, I'd be like, there's no way I'm probably gonna
stay
take
away
it.
from yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably take Cowboys plus 3.5. But I mean, if Chargers underdogs, like I think no matter what, this comes down to probably like a one score game. I don't know if it's less than 3 points, but I mean, I just think roll the dice. I think the Chargers have a very good shot at winning this game. And just based on what we saw last week, I think that the Cowboys, there's some frustration brewing there, obviously within the organization. CD Lamb is frustrated. That's been well documented over the last week or so. And Dak Prescott. I mean, this is a team. I don't know. I think Kellen Moore just comes out and has that revenge game, and yeah, like you said, I think this bodes well for the Chargers, and you know, I would probably take Chargers money line on this if you're going to bet game lines. As far as prop bets, um, I don't see how I mean, Austin Eckler right now for an anytime touchdown, his odds are sitting at plus 450.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
not bad. That I would
No.
probably smash that. I mean, there's
Yeah.
other alternate passing yards and rushing yards that you could probably play safe. Um, but plus 450 for an Austin Eckler anytime touchdown,
Yeah. I love those odds. I mean,
I like those odds a
game
lot.
first game back, we know how much of a focal point of this offense he is. Yeah, I mean, and just think about how often we've been in the red zone over the last few weeks, like inside the 10 and haven't had a reliable back to give the ball. He's gonna get touches inside the 10-yard line when we get the ball there. So anytime score for Austin, I mean, yeah, I love that bet.
Yeah, and if you want to get really crazy for all the fans out there, if we do a single game parlay and you take the Chargers money line and Austin Eckler anytime touchdown scorer, $25, or I'm sorry, let's do $10. $10 pays $30. I think that's a pretty
30
safe
bucks
bet,
I didn't have before. Yeah, I
right?
love that bet.
So that's what I would stick to. I really wasn't looking at this game betting wise going into the week. But yeah, I mean, the more I look at it, the more I look at the lines, there are definitely some bets that make sense. And just given the way the trajectory these two teams are on over the last couple weeks, I definitely think it's trending in the Chargers direction. So um, if you guys do bet on this game, let us know. Like, let us know what you bet on. I'm just curious to see. I would love this. I would love to almost start like a Chargers fan specific, like a gambling like what do I want to say, group
Dude, you
or
just moved to Arizona like 2 months ago, and now you're
gambling
just
Patreon.
ooh, there you go. I'm
That would be
sure that
cool
that'd be a massive hit. I'm sure, but yeah, I don't know. We can get into some keys of the game, but we can get into later about since it's such a close spread. I think we'll be able to cover this more with our score predictions later. So
for sure. So let us know if you do bet on this game, and let us know. And hey, if you're gonna take this advice, like let us know if you hit on our recommendations. Let us know if we fuck your parlay up because I'm genuinely curious about that too. So, but no, I think Chargers money line and Austin Eckler anytime touchdown. Definitely, if I am going to bet on this game, I'm smashing those. So pause.
someone had to, but yeah, man, for sure. Love those takes. Keys to victory. Just right out the gate. Let's just dive right into it. My first key to the victory, offensive side of the ball. I guess offensive defensive side of the ball, winning the turnover battle. I just saw a graphic before we popped up or before we hopped on here. I believe we are plus five, ooh, no, plus four on turnovers on the season, I believe. We've given up two, and no, we're plus three. Excuse me. We've given up two, and our defense is forced five. So defensive or forcing turnovers on the defensive side of the ball, protecting the ball on offense, especially against, I want to say, probably the best defense that we've seen thus far into this season. A defense that did get pretty battered and bruised last, Sunday night, probably hanging their heads a little bit, thinking about the Niners game a little bit. We can't give them free opportunities. That's just the biggest thing. Being able to move the ball effectively, control field position, things like that. So massive against a team like the Cowboys, who they get in their hot streaks offensively. Dak can cook a little bit here and there. Never know what Dak you're going to get, but if we're assuming against this pass defense, we're going to get the good Dak, then being able to keep the ball as long as possible on offense and turn that into points is just so massive to winning this game.
I love it. I definitely think this defense can generate some turnovers going into this matchup. I mean, Dak's been struggling a little bit lately, and this defense is starting to get hot too. Like, I mean, I know it's the Raiders, but like, they were able to get multiple turnovers. And Khalil Mack obviously had just a monster game. So, I'm excited to see kind of how he comes back out there and affects this game. But like, yeah, I think the key, like, well, just to finish like that thought, I definitely think this defense is trending in the right direction when it comes to producing more turnovers. I mean, that was something that we've been talking about over the last couple weeks, and it seems to be trending in the right direction. So I hope they can kind of keep that theme going this week. But for me, oh, I'm so excited that we're finally at this topic because it's so abundantly clear what the Chargers need to do in this matchup on offense, and that
I
is
was saving it. I was saving it for you, by the way, just because I
all
know
right.
how
Thank you.
excited you were.
It is feed Austin Eckler. I don't care that he's coming off an injury. Like if he's 99.9% ready to go, like he says he is, then that to me says full steam ahead. This defense, when you look at it, this is something that I thought was really interesting. This is the second best passing defense in the National Football League. Currently only behind the Cleveland Browns, yards per game wise. Justin Herbert also, I mean, coming off that broken finger and that nail injury. I like to think, I mean, if it's all everyone's like, oh, it's all good. We had the bye week, he's gonna magically come back and still be Justin. I don't know. I hope that's the case. But I mean, this almost makes too much sense to me. It's like you have Justin coming off the injury, Austin Eckler coming back. This Cowboys defense, although it ranks second against the pass, they're 21st against the rush, yardage wise per game. So that to me, just jumps out on the paper to me. Like it's so clear what the Chargers have to do, and the offensive line is healthy. They've been on a roll the last couple of weeks. I mean, obviously no Corey Linsley, but I think there's enough there. Austin Eckler back. I mean, I would love to see a huge game on the ground. Huge game in the screen game. Like, just I don't care how you get the ball to him, but get the ball to Eckler in space, and whether it's in the second half, third, fourth quarter, and you need to keep the clock going and extend drives and just slowly, like kill this team. That's fine. Or if it's in the first half, if it comes on big plays, big chunk plays, like I think Austin Eckler is the key to this game.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it's not just about being able to run the ball effectively. It's just about how is Kellen Moore going to use this chess piece that he's getting back this week. We haven't seen him since week one. We haven't seen him since week one or week two. Week one. We have not seen
Week
Austin
one.
Eckler since week one. So we've had a very small sample size of Austin Eckler thus far this season. So just so much more excitement just about what he's going to be able to do, what a very versatile offensive coordinator is going to be able to do with a very versatile running back. Getting him the ball in space, whether it's through the air or on the ground, I'm so excited. This is the first time we're really going to see this backfield be full on since they ran for 200 yards against Miami. So,
Yep.
there's just all the pieces are coming together for this to be a game that the Chargers should be able to, be able to hold their own on the ground, unlike we've been able to see the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's a great way to put it too. It's like the 230-yard Russian attack that we had week 1 is really going to be back in full force. So I'm super excited to see that, and I'm even more excited because of who the opponent is, and I really think Kellen Moore is going to be like in his bag the whole game.
Yeah. No, I think, man, I know Kellen Moore had this circled on his schedule, since he got the Chargers job is this weekend, Monday Night Football. So this is a perfect opportunity for him to be at his best. And I expect nothing less from Kellen Moore come
In
Monday night.
fact, he is my second key to victory. It's Austin Eckler, and then it's Kellen Moore. So
All
it's
right.
like,
Well, then hop right into your second one while we're at it.
well, I mean, we're already on the topic of it, but yeah, I mean, I just think like that's an underrated storyline that I think a lot of. I mean, I don't know. At least for me myself, I haven't really seen a whole lot of like media coverage on that over the last couple days. I mean, maybe we'll see more of it over the weekend, leading up to Monday night. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge storyline that you have to follow, and we'll get into storylines next, which this is definitely one of them. Um, but yeah, I mean, kind of maybe lost in the mix of just so much shit going on for both teams. Like I said, bye week, injuries. Um, both teams are kind of like zooming out and looking ahead at what they have to do over the next 4 or 5 weeks to really put themselves in a good position. And it's just that part of it's kind of we're entering that part of the season where you know some of the preseason, beginning of the season storylines start to fade, and teams really kind of have to look inward and be like, okay, who are we as a team? Like, what is this season going to look like? It might be after a few big wins, it might be after a few crushing losses, um, but I really think like the Kellen Moore, um, guy, what's his first name? Mike McCarthy. I think that battle, that storyline, I think it's just like those guys are going to want to get the best of each other, and yeah, I'm just, I mean, Kellen Moore, I know he's going to bring his A game, and just that alone is going to be a reason why we win this game.
Yeah, offensively, I have such high expectations going into Monday night. I just expect to, like, even against a very good defense, I just feel like with the weapons that we're going to be able to get back, and with that chip on the shoulder that Kellen Moore's going to have, I expect this offense to be able to move the ball very effectively. Let's hope that comes into fruition. For my final key, on the defensive side, kind of been the storyline all year, but especially against an offense that has its own weapons in the Cowboys, negating negative play, or excuse me, we want negative plays, but negating explosive plays is just so massive for this defense. Time and time again, it feels like we put ourselves into good opportunities, whether it be like a 2nd and 20 or a 3rd and 10 or longer, and we just give it up through the air. Which it almost feels like pitch and catch when it gets to 3rd and long for some of these offenses. It feels like a 2-minute drill for offenses when it gets to 3rd and long against this defense. Going forward, I mean, this could be a key all year. It's really been the story of the season for this defense, especially the first 3 weeks of the season. Actually, surprisingly enough, this run defense that we have is right in the middle of the pack in the league when it comes to yards allowed per game. So on the ground, we've been able to hold our own better than we've seen in the past. But yeah, our
Which
pass
is
defense is
it's
currently 31st in the league. So
all we've been asking for over the last like 2 years is just like, can we please just have an average run defense, and this defense will be fucking amazing. And the second we get an average run defense, our pass defense just turns into fucking
yeah,
dog
exactly,
shit.
exactly. That they call that the Brandon Staley effect. Is believe what they're calling that nowadays. But yeah, so just being able to negate big plays through the air. I mean, and big plays through the ground, but especially big plays through the air with a guy like CeeDee Lamb. Just an explosive play waiting to happen. And hopefully, we can frustrate that offense, force Dak into some bad throws, like we saw last Sunday night. But yeah, I think that's just massive for this defense. Is don't give up those big conversions on long downs where they're battling back from a penalty or a sack or any kind of negative play. Is once we get them into that 2nd and long, 3rd and long range, got to put their foot on their necks and get it done from there.
Yeah, and the more we talk about it too, just kind of going back, circling back to Eckler. This might be a game too where it's like we might see. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me because on paper, it definitely looks like they should just pound the ball on the ground. Get this Kellen Moore week 1 rushing offense back and back going again. But it could definitely be a game too where maybe they scheme up the screen game and a lot of dump offs and getting guys like Eckler and Keenan and Darius Davis in space. And it's like, it only takes one fucking little check down and, a missed tackle and a little move to go for 45 yards, So, I mean, that's something I'm definitely thinking about too, which is like, hey, Herbert might finally have like a Tua game where it's like he throws for 300, but only like physically throws for like maybe 150 yards, if not less than that. But just lets his receivers and his weapons, make the most out of it. So that's just something that kind of came to mind as you were mentioning that. But no, I don't really have any other keys to the game besides Austin Eckler and Kellen Moore. And like the ones that you mentioned, I think are great as well. Like turnovers,
Hey,
that's got to be on your side, if you want to win a game in this league. And yeah, I think this offense is up against it. Like this is a tough defense, but I definitely think Kellen Moore in just that situation, like he knows what he's going up against. I think he knows how Mike McCarthy runs his defense, and I think he's going to exploit some of those weaknesses.
yeah, I don't see a way in which we look back at a win in this game and think that, offense underperformed and the defense is what got us the win. This game is going to be ridden on the shoulders of this offense, and getting a piece like Austin Eckler back, which is such a brilliant key to victory, just expands this playbook so much more for
Yeah.
guys like Justin Herbert and Kellen Moore. So
And it's just perfect timing too with Herbert's hand. Like, hey man, you might not have to throw a 54-yard bomb down the field to call game. Like you might just
wow.
have to fucking dump it off to Eckler and like let him drag the pile for 6 yards and get a
Let
first
him
down.
go for 54 to win the game.
Right.
So
So yeah, no. That does it for the keys to victory. Brings us to the storylines to watch for. Obviously, since we've kind of been already on the topic of it, Kellen Moore facing his old team, wanting to get revenge against Mike McCarthy and just everyone else in that organization. Where it's got to be. I mean, he has to feel like he had to have been in the running for that job. He had to have been, and the fact that like he maybe didn't get taken seriously by Jerry Jones or other people in that organization. They maybe never saw him as the head coach, but maybe just as a coordinator that they could hold on to for as long as possible. But man, oh man, like that's one of the biggest storylines of the game for me. Is like it has to be. I mean, I think, and again, like I said earlier, I think I'm really amazed that we haven't seen really any media coverage on it this week. I mean, at least I haven't. Maybe there are pieces out there on it, but like I'm surprised it hasn't been like a focal point. I mean, this is America's team we're talking about, and they get, excuse me for lack of better language here, but they get sucked off by most of the fucking national media. Like it's terrible. So it's like I'm surprised I haven't seen like Stephen A. talking about this game yet.
who did? There was I believe what show's Richard Sherman on? They did a segment on it yesterday on First Take.
Okay.
They did a little segment, but it was mostly pointed towards how are the Cowboys going to be able to bounce back and all of that bullshit. So, but yeah, I think that I mean, other than Kellen Moore versus his former team, I think Austin coming back really going to be able to see this offense fully loaded minus Mike Williams since week 1. Other than that, I think those are really your two biggest storylines really to look for in this game. Nothing else really comes to mind for me.
I think there's one that we're kind of over, and again, I don't know if this is just a Chargers fan opinion or maybe we're just overlooking this because we know he's already amazing, but Justin Herbert's left hand. I think it's
Yes.
something to at least keep an eye on, especially like this is the first full game where we'll see it for 4 quarters. They've had enough time over the bye week. I said it before we hit the bye week, like, hey, at least they have some extra time here to kind of figure out what's most comfortable. They can play around with it. They can figure out what the best situation going forward is going to be, because this is going to be a lingering injury. This is probably going to affect the entire season at some point. Like, I've already seen some stuff this week that's made me be like, the fact that, like, Justin said in, I think it was yesterday or today in his
Mhm.
press conference, like, he hasn't taken a snap under center all week, and and he was also like, well, but that, we'll still, like, if we need to on Monday, we'll take snaps from under center. But I'm like, yeah, like, okay, like, great. I don't know if that's just like a media answer, but it definitely does not sound like you're comfortable taking snaps under center. And at some point, it's going to play some sort of impact on the fucking game, whether it's third and short and you're lining up in fucking shotgun. Like, you're already limited as to what you can run and what the defense has seen on tape. Like, it's just small things like that will never show up in the stat box, but that just makes me go like, okay, like,
See,
fuck,
yeah,
I guess.
I understand the concern. Me personally, I'm not overly worried about it now until I actually see an issue of it on the field. Unless it comes to
Right, but
a
that's
fumble snap under center. But I understand how, yes, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. How that it would be
yeah, but it's
something
definitely
to.
it definitely, like, that's what worries me, is that it falls into that category of like, well, yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock into it. It's press conference in the middle of the week. But then again, this is the fucking Chargers we're talking about. And if they have to find themselves in a short yardage situation in the fourth quarter, I mean, we've already seen this team fuck it up the last 2 games. Like, 4th and 1, they
And
cannot.
win. We
Yeah.
need to do it every week.
I mean, like, yes, they came out on the right side of both of those outcomes, but at the same time, it's like, you can't continue to afford fucking up a 4th and 1. You have to
Yeah,
figure it out. And the fact
totally.
that your quarterback now is like, I don't know, like, I'm sure he's still comfortable taking snaps under center, but it definitely plays a factor in it. So it's just things like that where it's like, it should never really matter or come into effect that much. But then again, this is the Chargers we're talking about, and it always somehow comes back to, like, it plays some sort of factor in the long run. So, like, again, I think the it is going to be a lingering issue, but at the same time, I think every week he's going to get more and more comfortable with it. And if they do go on a run late in the year, I think it'll be non-existent. But at least for the next, like, 3 or 4 weeks, I think it's going to be it's going to affect more of this offense than people really think.
Yeah, for sure, definitely to keep an eye out on. Just that's definitely any kind of injury is going to limit any kind of ability to a certain amount. So I'll still definitely watch, definitely under center kind of stuff, short yardage to see how that goes. But if there's one thing I do know and have learned is that Justin Herbert's a motherfucking dog. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see this phase him one bit. But one last storyline that I actually wanted to share real quick. Dating back, just a fun fact, dating back to last season, the last 15 games, teams the week after playing the 49ers are 0-15, dating back to last season. So,
Wow.
so I'm just saying, if that trend continues, then we're in line for a W come Monday night.
That is a crazy stat.
It's wicked. I don't know if they are just physically just absolutely demolish every team that they play, so they're just decrepit the next week, or I don't know what. But yeah, 0-15 the week after playing the Niners. Because I mean, think about it. We played the Niners last year, lost to the Chiefs the week after, so it's crazy.
Well, scheduling probably plays a lot of like, you play the Niners and you play the fucking Eagles next week. It's like,
Yeah, I
fuck.
mean, yeah, like seriously. So I mean, that might just be how the script is set up, but that is
Yeah,
something
but
to
no,
keep an eye
that
on.
regardless, like, that's an insane stat, and
Yeah,
I did not know that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. I can't credit my source on here. I saw it somewhere within the walls of Twitter. So, yeah, but
Yeah. Well, I mean that again. I'm glad you brought that up in the storylines and in the storyline topic because
just a fun little
something to keep
stat.
an eye on. Yeah, something to
Yeah.
be. That's one of those things you're probably gonna forget. But then like Sunday night, however the outcome, or God, I keep saying Sunday. God damn, Monday night, however the outcome turns out to be, that could be one of those like afterthoughts, like oh shit, still true, or like
Yeah.
so that yeah, I love stats like that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, for sure, man. But I think without further ado, I think it's time that
It's time, baby.
we get into some score predictions for this game.
Yes. So before we get into score predictions, let's do some bold predictions. Bold, bold. Think bold. Think outside the box. Taco Bell
Bold,
here.
bold, bold, bold. Okay.
All
Bold
right.
predictions,
So
eh?
bold. My bold prediction for Monday night is I think the Chargers are going to hang 30 on this defense.
Wow. I love it.
30 plus.
I don't see a way that we lose this. No, I do see a way that we lose this game if our offense scores 30 plus. I want to say that we shouldn't, but I mean, this is the Chargers we're talking about.
Yeah.
But you would like to think, in 99% of offenses, 30 points should get it done. But this is different here.
I can see 30 points. I can see a couple of big touchdowns. I can see you know, maybe 2 or 3 field goals. I can see some defenses making some stops and some moments where we get the ball in really good field position and capitalize. Um, that being said, I mean that's the reason why it is my bold prediction, because I can also see this team scoring 21 on Monday. So it just depends on how the game script unfolds and how this offense shows up. But that's my bold prediction. I think, and again, I'd like to think yes, 30 plus should get the job done. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love that pick. I'm actually going to go on the other side of the ball for my bold prediction, which, if both of our bold predictions turn true, should mean a W. My bold prediction defensively, I think we're gonna get 3 turnovers come Monday night. I think that Dak is really not playing good football right now. Their offensive line looked really vulnerable last week. Again, that was against a 49ers defense that is just absolutely incredible. But any kind of vulnerability, if as long as Brandon Staley and co can just watch some tape and get a good game plan together. Like, what if we come out and we game plan for this game like we game planned for Miami last year? Then this game should be wrapped up. So I'm gonna go 3 turnovers for this defense, and I mean 3 turnovers for the defense, 30 plus for the offense. That should be a dub.
100%. And I'm gonna actually, because you got me thinking defensively. Um, I got another bold prediction. I got the bonus honorable
Oh,
mention bold prediction here. Khalil Mack plus 2.5 sacks.
wow. I love it. So bringing him up to 8.5 on the year.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
But
I
I
hope
mean, like, like I wanted to say 3 plus, but I'm like, oh fuck, okay, that's a lot. But I'll do 2.5. 2.5 plus. I like whether he hits 2.5 on the nose and has a couple himself and tag teams one. But he could also just have fucking more than that. So like that would be awesome to see him have back-to-back monster games. I just think that would be awesome to see. He's also going to have some really good tackles to go up against this week. So, and definitely a more savvy quarterback in the pocket when it comes to protecting the ball. Aiden O'Connell seemed like he was so rattled in that first half. Like if you touched him, the ball was going to fucking drop to the turf. So,
yeah.
I definitely think that plays a difference in it. I'm not expecting him to, but that's the reason why it's the bold prediction, just because that would be fucking awesome to see.
Bro, Aiden O'Connell and Derek Carr are the Spider-Man meme, basically, after thinking
Yes.
about that game. But quick, before we get to our score predictions, I want to do just a quick little segment with these. I'm going to keep track through the season. We've kind of done a shitter job of keeping track of our bowl predictions, but to keep something consistent, I want us to predict the first touchdown score for the Los Angeles Chargers in every game going forward.
I love it.
So we can rotate each time. I don't want us to each choose the same player just because, I mean, that's kind of boring. So I'll let you have the honors to go first here against Dallas for this Monday Night Football game.
Ooh, I like this, man.
Um,
All right.
so yeah, let's hear what you got.
All right. I'm going to say the first touchdown score for the Chargers on Monday night is going to be.
I feel like I could already write this in. I feel like there's no way you're not going to go with who I think you're going to go with.
There's no way you think. There's no way you're thinking what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm probably not because this is the same guy that picked Xander Horvath to score a touchdown in
It
the
came
first game of
through.
the
It came
season,
fucking through.
and it did. So I mean, dude, you might just nail these every week. Who
All
knows?
right. I'm going Quentin Johnson. First touchdown of the
Wow.
game.
Okay. I love it. I mean, not. You want to give us like a little what
No, I mean,
yardage? You
I
know,
don't. I mean, who knows how it'll come? I mean, most likely probably off a passing play. I mean, unless they want to do
I
like
mean, yeah.
a little like jet sweep with him, but I don't think. I mean, who knows what they'll have drawn up for him. But yeah, I think man, it's fucking about time. It's about time him and Herbert get on the same page, build some chemistry. Um, I want to see our fucking first round pick be a first round pick, and it's nothing against Quentin Johnson. I think it's at this point so far it is more on the organization. Um, getting him opportunities and looks, and it's also on Justin Herbert a little bit. It is on Herbo, but I think those things also take time, and there's definitely relationships developing there and trust. So, look, Quentin Johnson's still very young, but it's like, hey man, I'm sick of seeing Jordan Addison and some of these other rookie wide receivers go off. Like, let's see
It's
a
time.
QJ coming out party.
It's time.
And if anything, it is time. It's time. And yeah, I'll go first touchdown, QJ.
I like that. I honestly wish I used that for my bold prediction for this game was QJ anytime score, let alone first touchdown score. So I like that a lot. Well, I mean, you went first, so I'm just gonna sweep up the crumbs here. I thought for sure you'd go Austin Eckler, so I'm gonna go Austin Eckler.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
I was going bold with it.
I mean, I like the fact you're going bold. I'm personally trying to put you 6 feet under on these first touchdown scores for the season. So I'm going to go Austin Eckler. I think that's probably the safest pick. I mean, I'm not going to just sit here and pick Austin Eckler every week because, I mean, realistically, it's probably the safest pick every week. But you and I we talked pretty much for a good majority of this episode about how important being able to run the ball this week would be. You know, you really got that stuck in my head. Run the ball, run the ball. Give me Austin Eckler. I'll say I bet it'll be like a, first drive of the game. We'll march it down with a great passing attack, sprinkle in some runs, and he'll punch it in from like 3 yards out or something along those lines. So I'm saying, all right, you have to. I'm gonna say Eckler rushing. No, I'm just gonna say Eckler because if QJ rushes it or receives it, then I'll get it to you. So
if you really want me to pick how QJ is going to score, I'm going goal line fade.
okay. Well, yeah, we don't have to get that specific, but QJ Eckler, lock it in. Let's get the score predictions and let's get out of here.
All righty. Score predictions for me. I have the Chargers. Go Chargers, go. I have the Chargers winning this one, putting up 30 plus. I think the bold prediction is going to come through. I got Chargers 31. I got Cowboys 26.
31-26. I love it, man. Any idea, like, did we jump out to a good lead? Is it one of those games or just a slugfest all over?
Yeah, as far as how the game script will go, I'm not, but yeah, I really don't know how that I am actually very. If anything,
You don't have to actually pick. I didn't know if you had any ideas though.
no, yeah, this is genuinely like I don't. Most games, I kind of whether or not it's true or I just have a hunch of how the game will go. I really don't for this game. Like I do think the Chargers can get 30 plus. Like I really believe they can put up 31. I think Kellen Moore will have a game. I can definitely see this defense. I'll say this. I'll say the defense makes this a lot closer of a game in the second half.
All
And I
right.
don't. I mean,
So
other than that, I mean, I can just see like, hey, it's still being enough, and maybe not being too stressful, but I can definitely see it being at least interesting throughout the game. And the Cowboys are still a good team. They're coming off a bad loss. It's the National Football League. You're going to have those. You're going to bounce back. And I definitely, I mean, uh, even though I feel a lot better about this game after the Cowboys and Niners game, like it's definitely like I don't think this game is going to be anything other than a classic Chargers game. Like it's going to be close down the stretch in the fourth quarter, and but ultimately, I think the Chargers have enough and do enough to win this game.
yeah, I mean, I am right on board with you, man. I just feel like this is a game. This is kind of a season turning game. We got this tough 2 game stretch right here in the middle of the season, coming off a bye. You know, Dallas is coming off an absolute evisceration against the Niners. One of my favorite new words, by the way. But I just expect primetime Justin Herbert to show up in this game. The stars are going to be out in LA come Monday night. Give me the Chargers 28-23 in this one.
I like it. I like it, man. So yeah, we both have the Chargers. I mean that to me, like when we do these predictions, it gives me like a
Yeah,
better idea of
we
our
should,
overall confidence of
but
these games.
we need to learn from our actions and not pick the Chargers to win, man. But
Yeah,
here we
that's how we
are.
went on a run last year. We were like, all right,
All right, I'll say 28-23 Cowboys
there we
with the
go,
wink for
wink, wink,
our audible listeners, the
wink,
wink.
wink. We're
So
gonna fucking what's the phrase here? Reverse psychology the hell out of this fucking
I
prediction.
mean, we went crazy with reverse psychology last year, so who knows? I mean, we did. We both picked us to lose against Minnesota, and here we are. So
Hey, there you go. There
I
you go.
mean,
All right.
we're working one on the air, but
Maybe
yeah,
that's
I
all.
mean,
Maybe that's the whole piece of this whole puzzle. It's just us
it's just us. It's this.
constantly shitting. Maybe we have to be that podcast that is just fucking
Someone's got it.
negative Nancy. Someone
I
has to
mean,
be it.
everyone else is too positive. Maybe we should just be. We should just be the.
Everyone has to like rainbows
Bad.
and
We'll be the
fucking
bad guys.
flowers. We're like, welcome to the pod. Let's talk about how shitty this organization is. No,
Yeah,
not even. But like,
exactly.
come on now. If you're a true Chargers fan, you don't need to fucking sugarcoat it. You know at this point, like,
I
you
mean,
know
yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah, it's just how it be as Chargers fans. But man, I'm really excited for these next 2 weeks. All starts Monday night. Really just a big opportunity to. I almost want to say just really change this team for the rest of the year. Honestly, could start Monday night
Yeah,
if we can get it. If we can get into a roll and beat a really good team on prime time, I think that's going to do so much for this organization going forward. Um, I'm pumped, man. So excited. Go Chargers. Fuck the Cowboys. Let's get it.
look, man. Every week from here on out is going to be huge. And look, like, if we're going to be the team we want to be, and if we're going to be where we want to be towards the end of the year, controlling our destiny, being a playoff team, these are the games that you just have to kind of blindly trust, and be like, hey, if it's meant to be, we're winning this game. So if we don't win this game, that just means that we're not legit. So I mean, kind of a rough way to look at it sometimes, but at the same time, it's like, hey, if we're going to be that team, we're going to be that team. Like it's going to work itself out. So, and I think they are that team. So hell yeah, man. Chargers getting the dub. We're calling it now. Monday night. We'll have a special Victory Tuesday episode, which will be awesome to record. And yeah, man, it's all up from here.
Yes, sir. Go Bolts, baby.
Go Bolts. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Chargers Powder Hour podcast. This has been episode number 89. Shout out my boy Donald Parham Jr. Tune into or excuse me, follow our social media, Twitter, Instagram at Powder Hour Pod LA for all the latest news and updates about the podcast and of course about our bolts. And as always, bolt up. We will see you next time. Peace.